What's cooking, guys, and welcome back to my channel. I literally just got done filming my next video for you guys, and I'm so excited for this because it's one of my favorite Pakistani dishes, and this is chicken karahi. Chicken karahi is a very greasy and spicy dish. You can make it with any type of meat that you want, but this is one of my favorites for sure. It is eaten all over Pakistan, but I would say specifically more in the bigger cities. The word karahi means a wok, or like a deep frying pan. So if you guys have a deep frying pan and if you have all the ingredients listed in the description box below, you have to make this dish with me. It is absolutely amazing and I think you're going to love it. So stay tuned for the recipe. Do consider subscribing if you're new here and you'd like to join the foodie family, and also hit the bell icon so you're notified every time I upload a new video, which is once a week. And now let's get cooking. So I just want to go over the main ingredients with you guys. I'll talk about the spices as I use them in the dish. But here I have 3 chicken breasts that I cut into like small bite-sized chunks. You can even use a whole chicken and just cut it up into smaller pieces. Then I have here a few garlic cloves. I would use a whole garlic bulb here. I just ran out of garlic last minute, so this is all I have and this is what I'll use. What I'm going to do with this is just mince this up or pulse it in my food processor just to make like a garlic paste. Then I have 1 whole ginger root, and I'm going to use half of this in the dish, and I'm going to make a ginger paste out of that, and then the other half I'm going to use for garnishing, and I'm going to be cutting that in julienne slices, and you will see that a little bit later when I use this as a garnish as well. Then here I have some serrano peppers. I'm not going to use all of these. I just bought extra just in case I don't have enough. And I'm using serrano peppers. You can also use jalapenos here, or those really thin, tiny Thai chilies or the Indian chilies, whatever you guys want. But this is what I found in my grocery store, so that's what I bought. And then I have 5 Roma tomatoes here, and I'm just going to be cutting them into lengthwise 4 segments to just into pretty much quarters. And then some fresh cilantro is a must. I'm going to use half of this bunch in the dish and then the other half for garnishing. So these are pretty much our main ingredients that you need for this dish. So I'm going to turn on my stove on medium high and place a wok on it. You can even use a deep frying pan, as I said. And once my pan heats up, I'm going to be using pure desi ghee, which is just clarified butter. If you want to use oil, that's fine. If you don't have ghee at home, that's fine. You can even use coconut oil because it has a higher burn rate. And I'm going to be using a few heaping tablespoons, or at least between 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup of desi ghee. I know that sounds like a lot, but this dish is a greasy dish. It is not low fat, so you want to put enough grease in there for the chicken to fry in. And once my ghee or the oil heats up, I'm going to add all of my chicken breast. As I said, I used 3 chicken breasts that I cut into these bite-sized chunks. And this dish is also great with bone-in chicken or any type of other meat that you prefer. Especially if you use a bone-in meat, it will have more flavor. But chicken breast is just my preference. It cooks fast and it's just easier for me to eat. And then I'm just mixing this around in the hot ghee. And you want to cook this till its own juices have evaporated and it starts to brown. So give it a few minutes. It takes anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes on high heat for the chicken to really release all of its juices and to continue to cook and caramelize. As you can see, my chicken has been cooking in the hot desi ghee, and now I'm going to add the ginger and garlic paste that I made. It's more like minced ginger and garlic, but yeah, I'm adding all of it, the half ginger root. Fresh ginger is highly necessary for this dish, so definitely use fresh ginger. There's no substituting with that. Ginger is one of the main components of this dish, and you want to keep mixing the chicken with the garlic and the ginger. This will help to start flavoring the chicken and basically giving it some sort of seasoning, since we did not marinate the chicken earlier. And you can see the juices from the chicken are starting to evaporate and the oil is kind of separating. So this is exactly what you want. And after a few minutes of frying up my chicken in the hot ghee and the ginger and garlic, you can see that my chicken has started to caramelize and get a little golden brown color on it. And now to the chicken, I'm adding my 5 Roma tomatoes that I cut up into these long segments. You can even cut them up smaller if you like, but I like to see the tomatoes in this dish. It also helps to give a nice bright red color to the dish. And you want to mix the tomatoes with the chicken and the ginger and garlic together, so the chicken can continue to get flavor at each step and each addition of the ingredients that we're adding. And after a few minutes of mixing the tomatoes with the chicken, I'm going to now cover this for like 5 minutes so the steam can rise and cook the tomatoes down a little bit. And after about 5 minutes, I'm checking on my tomatoes and you can see that they cooked down a little bit and the steam has kind of softened them up and tenderized them. And I'm just using my wooden spoon and just smashing up the tomatoes, since they are tender now, into that hot ghee, just so that they can start creating a gravy. And now to this I'm going to add my spices, and I have about 1 teaspoon of cumin powder. I have about 1 to 1.5 teaspoon, I would say, of paprika powder. This is optional. I'm just using this because of its bright red color. And then I have some chili powder, which is very necessary for also like a spicy flavor and the bright red color. But if you don't have chili powder, you can use cayenne pepper instead. And then I have some ground coriander powder, and I'm using about half to 1 teaspoon of it. I'm eyeballing all of these spices, by the way. And then I have some garam masala, which I'm using about half a teaspoon only. Garam masala does have a more potent, spicier flavor, so you don't really need a lot. So that's why I only added a little bit. And then you just want to mix everything up. You can see the tomatoes have cooked down. They have created somewhat of a gravy in that hot ghee. And you can see the spices have given it a nice, bright, rich red color. And now I'm going to add some whole black peppercorn that I'm going to grind in there. If you don't have freshly ground black pepper, you can just use regular black pepper, but the freshly ground one really makes a big difference in this dish. And then of course I have some salt, and I'm going to add to my taste. Even the black pepper I added to my taste. And then of course just mix everything up so the salt and the pepper can also flavor the rest of the dish. And this is already looking really good, and it cooked so fast, but we still have additional ingredients to add. And I'm just going to cover it so the chicken can cook with the rest of the spices. And now after 5 minutes, let's check on the chicken that was cooking in that tomatoey, spicy gravy. But it is not complete without these serrano peppers that I'm adding. You can of course add jalapenos or any type of other green chilies that you like. You can even just use regular green pepper, the sweet ones. And then I have a few tablespoons of Greek yogurt. You can just use regular yogurt if you have that. And this just adds a little creaminess to the gravy and a little hint of sour taste, but it doesn't overpower the rest of the spices. And then I have the ginger that I cut up into these julienne slices. And I'm going to save the rest of it for garnishing. And I also have some fresh cilantro, just a handful of it for now. I'm also going to use a little bit for garnishing. And that green color against that red gravy really stands out, and it's just a perfect contrast. And I'm just going to mix everything up, and you can see how beautiful this looks. And the whole dish has really come together with that green cilantro and that green fresh serrano peppers. So just keep mixing it till everything is incorporated well. And then you can cover this again for another 5 to 7 minutes so everything can cook together. And let's check on my chicken karahi after about 5 to 7 minutes, and this is bubbling away. It smells amazing, and I just can't wait to eat it with some garlic naan or even roti or something. Whatever you guys want to eat this with, even with white rice would be amazing. You can see the ghee and the spices and the tomatoes really created a nice rich gravy for the chicken. And at this stage you can turn off the stove, and I'm just going to garnish it with the rest of the julienned ginger that I had left over. As I said, ginger is one of the main components of this dish, so you definitely want to use all the fresh ginger that you possibly can. And then I also have the fresh cilantro or the coriander leaves that I had saved just for garnishing, and that just gives a bright green contrast to the beautiful rich red gravy that I have here. So that's pretty much it. That is exactly how you make a typical chicken karahi. You might have noticed that I did not put any onions in this dish. It only consists of ginger and garlic as the base or the aromatics in this dish. And here is my beautiful, rich, greasy and spicy chicken karahi. You can even serve this in a deep wok like this with some naan, with some rice, with some roti, whatever you guys want on the side, or you can just eat it as is. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed my recipe for chicken karahi. And if you enjoyed today's recipe, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I always appreciate your support. I'll be seeing you in my next video, guys. Until then, take care of yourselves.